Looking at the genre conventions of indie rock for the narrative, it was often that the storyline was very tongue-in-cheek and there was a very strong comedic element in there. So we replicated this. Looking at the responses we've had, we replicated this very well, as a lot of the people found it very amusing. The fact that Scott was after a girl that was well out of his league. In this genre, performance shots, they're always on the move. There's never any static shots where the camera's based very, very still. So this is why in both our performance and narrative we hardly ever use the tripod, as we wanted to keep the effect of the audience are actually there with you and are in the moment with the band. So again, this is building up this relationship. And also on the performance, there's always eye contact with the camera, and we felt that was imperative in bringing across this relationship, this comedic relationship we wanted to build up with the audience, with my character. The micro elements. So first, looking at camera shots, angles and movements, is that for the lip syncing, a lot of close-ups were used of myself. What that enabled was it allowed me to engage with the audience a little better, because it was close-up of my face, so they could see my eyes looking directly into the camera. So that made it more engaging for them, and it allowed them to build up more relationship with me. The sort of performance shots, so of the band, a lot of mid to wide shots were used. So what it was framing the performer with their instrument. So whereas I was expressing my feelings and thoughts through the lip syncing and the close-ups, they could do it through the use of their instrument. The different type of shot we used, so movement, there was a pull focus put in there a couple of times, in which the camera was angled at the neck of the guitar, looking down towards where the guitarist was actually playing, and we had, using the manual focus on the camera, adjusted what part of the guitar was in focus. So that gave a different type of effect, almost that we're drawn in to what's actually going on. There was over-the-shoulder shot used from my perspective while playing the drums. In our narrative shots, we had an aerial zoom, which is the tripod. The camera was mounted on the tripod, and what we wanted is a shot looking down at Scott to show his distress and how small of a character and his confidence is, because it was shattered as Alice went away with me instead of Scott. I held the tripod and we raised it up above Scott's head as he looked into the camera. The problem with this was, because it was quite a windy day, the higher I got it, the more the tripod was affected by the wind. So the camera was often shaking, so we had to do this shot about 8 or 9 times. So looking at mise-en-scène, first of all I want to look at location. So the location we chose for the performance shots was in the garage, which in my garden. So this is a sample from where I have my drum kit, and it was quite good to have blank walls, which didn't really. So it meant that we could fit it to any genre we wanted to, using iMovie and using the editing software that we have. The drum kit originally was in one place in the room, but to frame all 3 of us in, we moved it slightly into the back corner so we could have more of a wide shot. Joe had sort of fairy lights which we hung up behind us, so that gave another dimension of the mise-en-scène to make it sort of to give it more of a fun effect, as our music video was about. We wanted to create one which was funny, that was very fun to watch. So we felt this brought another dimension to that, and allowed us to pull that off very well. With the use of the fairy lights afterwards, because we had the problem with the camera and we had to put the coloured tints on, it almost gave the effect that the fairy lights were placing those coloured tints over the shots. The narrative shots we shot in 2 different parks. First was Elton Park, which had an outside gym. So for the gym shots we did it there, and we were very lucky with the weather when we did that. It was a nice sunny day, so that added to the mise-en-scène heavily, because it was an uplifting piece of music, and that's what we wanted to create from the off. So having the sun there really helped that. Costume for Alice, we wanted Alice to be objectified by Scott. So to do this through costume, Alice wore a sort of a sports bra, so everything was a little on show, which sort of turned Scott on a little bit. And then Scott, we had a sort of conventional geeky person who was trying to do some sport by so he had his headbands, his sweatbands on, and his very short shorts. We sort of got inspiration from this from Juno, and through the editing, we did various things to the shots to keep the audience's attention and to create that sort of fun, desired effect that we were after. So we adjusted the pacing of a couple of shots by speeding them up and slowing them down. This was to sort of break it up in a way and make it more interesting for the audience. And then we had the colour changes, which we did on every 2 beats. Perhaps on the shots that you would have broken up with other ones and they were being a bit too boring, we could hold it for a little bit longer by changing the colour, which gave it something different. Thought about that fun element and comedic element which we were going for. Using all of these conventions that are a typical indie rock band, it made it very, very successful in what we were trying to achieve.